Life will always provide for you, no matter what, even in the moments when it feels like everything is falling apart. Take a breath with me, my dear. Slow it down, gently in and softly out. I want you to pause for just a moment and notice what you've been carrying. The quiet worry, the silent questions, the nights where your mind refuses to rest because it keeps asking, what if things don't work out? I know that feeling. I know how heavy it can sit in your chest, like a weight you can't quite name, but you feel it everywhere. And maybe lately life hasn't been unfolding the way you expected. Maybe things have been delayed, opportunities slipping through your fingers, doors that once seemed open, suddenly closing without explanation. And somewhere inside, a quiet voice started whispering, what if I'm not supported? What if I'm alone in this? But sweetheart, let me remind you of something deeper than fear, something quieter than doubt, something that has always been true even when you forgot. Life has always been holding you, not in loud, obvious ways, not always in the ways you planned, but in subtle, almost invisible ways that only become clear when you look back. Think about it. All the moments you thought you wouldn't make it through, and yet here you are. All the times you felt uncertain, lost, unsure, and somehow something guided you forward. You didn't always know how, but something in you kept moving. And that something is life itself supporting you. You see, we've been taught to believe that provision must look a certain way, that if life is working, everything should be predictable, controlled, guaranteed. But life doesn't move like that. Life is not a rigid system. It's a living, breathing intelligence that responds to who you are becoming. It's more like a seed, my dear. A seed doesn't panic when it's buried in the dark. It doesn't question whether the sun will find it. It doesn't rush its growth or compare itself to the other seeds around it. It simply trusts the process, even when everything around it feels like pressure, darkness, and stillness. And in that quiet surrender, something extraordinary begins to happen. It grows, not because it forced itself, not because it worried enough, but because it allowed life to do what life naturally does, provide. And I want you to gently ask yourself, what if the season you are in right now is not a punishment, not a delay, but a planting? What if this stillness, this uncertainty, this space where nothing seems to be happening is actually where everything is quietly being prepared for you? I know it's hard to trust what you cannot see. I know the mind wants proof, timelines, guarantees. It wants to feel safe by controlling the outcome. But real safety, true safety, doesn't come from control. It comes from trust. Not blind trust, but a deep embodied knowing that life is not against you. That even when things fall apart, they are not falling apart to break you. They are rearranging to support you in ways you cannot yet understand. Have you ever noticed how sometimes the things that didn't work out later revealed themselves as protection? The job you didn't get, the relationship that ended, the opportunity that slipped away, and at the time it felt like loss. But later you saw it differently. You realized that if that had worked out, you wouldn't be where you are now. You wouldn't have grown the way you did. You wouldn't have discovered parts of yourself that were waiting to be seen. That's life providing for you, even when it doesn't look like it. And I want you to feel this, not just understand it. Feel it in your body, in your breath, in the quiet space behind your thoughts. Life is not withholding from you. Life is preparing you, aligning you, guiding you. But here's where the shift begins, my dear, and this is important. The question is not, when will life give me what I want? The question is, who am I becoming as I wait? Because life doesn't respond to desperation, it responds to alignment. If you are constantly asking, where is it? Why isn't it here yet? You are unknowingly telling life that you believe something is missing, that something is lacking, that you are not supported. And life, in its quiet intelligence, mirrors that back to you. Not to punish you, but to reflect your state of being. But when you begin to soften, when you begin to breathe, when you gently remind yourself, I am supported, even now, even here, something begins to shift. You stop chasing and you start receiving. You stop forcing and you start allowing. You stop living in fear and you start living in trust. And trust, my dear, is the doorway through which life can fully provide. So right now, I want you to place your hand on your heart, softly, gently, and just breathe. Let your shoulders drop, let your body soften, and silently within yourself, repeat these words, slowly, like you're speaking to the deepest part of you. Life is taking care of me. Again, life is taking care of me. Even if a part of you resists it, even if your mind says that's not true, just let the words settle like seeds in the soil of your being. Because over time, what you gently repeat becomes what you begin to feel. And what you feel becomes what you begin to live. You don't have to force belief. You don't have to convince yourself overnight. You simply have to be willing to soften into a new possibility. A possibility where you are not alone, where you are not forgotten, where you are not struggling against life, but moving with it. And I know there may be parts of you that are tired, parts that have tried, hoped, waited, and felt disappointed. That's okay. Those parts deserve compassion, not pressure. So instead of pushing them away, I want you to gently hold them. Say to yourself, it's okay to feel this, and I am still supported. Because support doesn't disappear just because you feel doubt. Provision doesn't stop just because you feel afraid. Life doesn't withdraw from you. It stays, quietly, patiently, waiting for you to remember. And the more you remember, the more you relax into this truth, the more space you create for life to meet you. Not in struggle, but in flow. Not in fear, but in trust. So, as you move through your day, I want you to carry this softness with you. When something doesn't go as planned, pause, breathe, and whisper, life is still working for me. When uncertainty arises, instead of tightening, gently open and remind yourself, I am supported even now. These are small shifts, almost invisible, but they are powerful because they change the way you meet life. And when you change the way you meet life, life begins to meet you differently. Take another breath with me, slow, steady. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not unsupported. You are being guided in ways you cannot always see, but can begin to feel if you allow yourself to soften into trust. And my dear, life will always provide for you, not because you earned it, not because you forced it, but because it is the nature of life to support what is willing to receive, And even now, as you sit here with me, something inside you is already beginning to soften, isn't it? Not everything, not all at once, but just a little. That tight grip you've been holding, the constant need to figure everything out, it's loosening, even if only for a moment. And that moment, my dear, is more powerful than you realize. Because in that small space where you are not forcing, not worrying, not chasing, you are finally allowing. Take a breath, slowly. Do you feel that gentle shift? This is where life begins to move toward you. Not when you are tense, not when you are trying to control every outcome, but when you create space, when you become open, when you stop gripping so tightly to how things must happen and begin trusting that they are already unfolding in the right way. You see, most of the exhaustion you feel doesn't come from life itself. It comes from resistance, from trying to make things happen on your timeline, from replaying fears, from carrying the weight of what if over and over again. It's like swimming against a current that was never meant to be fought. And I want to ask you something gently. What would happen if you stopped fighting the current, even just for today? What would it feel like to let life carry you for a moment? Not forever, not in some dramatic, unrealistic way, but just here, right now. Because here's the truth that many people overlook. Receiving requires a different kind of strength than chasing. It requires softness. It requires openness. It requires the courage to believe that you don't have to earn every good thing through struggle. And I know that belief can feel unfamiliar. Maybe you've been conditioned to think that if you're not working harder, pushing more, worrying constantly, then you're being irresponsible. That ease means laziness. That trust means you're not doing enough. But sweetheart, that is not truth. That is fear dressed up as responsibility. Because real alignment, real creation doesn't come from tension. It comes from coherence, from being in a state where your mind, your body, and your emotions are not fighting each other, but gently moving in the same direction. And when you are in that state, life flows differently. Opportunities feel natural instead of forced. Connections feel aligned instead of draining. Decisions feel clear instead of confusing. Not because life suddenly became perfect, but because you are no longer resisting what is already trying to come to you. So instead of asking, how do I make this happen? I want you to try something softer. Ask yourself, where am I blocking what is already trying to arrive? And don't rush the answer, just feel into it. Sometimes the block is fear, fear of things not lasting, fear of losing what you receive, fear of finally having what you asked for and not knowing how to hold it. Sometimes the block is unworthiness, a quiet belief that says, this is too good for me, it won't stay, I don't deserve this level of ease. And sometimes it's simply habit, a habit of expecting struggle, a habit of preparing for disappointment, a habit of bracing yourself even when nothing is wrong. And my dear, these habits are not your fault. They were learned. They were built over time, through experiences, through moments where you had to protect yourself, where you had to stay alert, where uncertainty taught you to expect the worst. But just because something was learned does not mean it must remain. You can gently unlearn, not by force, not by pressure, but by awareness. So the next time you notice yourself tightening, worrying, spiraling into what if, pause, take a breath, and instead of following that pattern, just observe it. Ah, there it is. The old habit of fear. No judgment, no frustration, just noticing. Because awareness, my dear, is where change begins. And in that moment of awareness, you have a choice. You can continue the old pattern, or you can gently choose something new, something softer, something more aligned with the truth that life is already supporting you. So, let's practice together. Take another slow breath and repeat inside yourself, I am safe to receive. Again, I am safe to receive. Let those words settle, even if they feel unfamiliar. Because safety, true safety, is not found in controlling every outcome. It's found in knowing that whatever happens, you will be supported through it. That you have always been carried, even in the moments you thought you were alone. And as you begin to feel this, even slightly, something beautiful starts to unfold. You stop chasing validation from the outside, and you start resting in a quiet inner knowing. You stop rushing your timeline, and you start trusting divine timing. You stop asking, why is this taking so long? And you begin to see that nothing is late. Everything is arriving at the exact moment you are ready to receive it. Because timing, my dear, is not about the clock. It's about alignment. It's about who you are when something arrives. Because what you receive, you must be able to hold. Not just physically, but emotionally, energetically. And life, in its wisdom, will never rush something into your hands before your heart is ready to keep it. So if something hasn't arrived yet, it doesn't mean it's not coming. It means something within you is still being prepared. And that preparation is not a delay. It is provision. Even now, life is shaping you, strengthening you, expanding your capacity, so that when what you've been asking for arrives, you won't lose it. You'll be able to receive it fully, hold it gently, and allow it to grow. Isn't that a different way to see things? Not as waiting, but as becoming. Not as nothing is happening, but as everything is quietly aligning. So, instead of measuring your life by visible results, start noticing the invisible shifts. The way you respond differently than before, the way you recover more quickly from fear, the way you are beginning to soften instead of harden. These are signs, my dear, signs that you are aligning, signs that life is moving, even when you cannot see it yet. And I want you to honor that, because growth doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like choosing peace instead of panic. Sometimes it looks like taking a breath instead of reacting. Sometimes it looks like trusting, even when you don't have all the answers. And that kind of growth is what changes everything. So, as you continue your day, I want you to carry this quiet knowing with you. You are not stuck. You are not being denied. You are being prepared, supported, guided, even now, especially now. Take one more deep breath with me, slow, gentle, and feel into this truth. Life is not something you have to fight. It is something you are meant to move with. And the more you soften, the more you trust, the more you allow, the more you will begin to see. Life has been providing for you all along. Life has been providing for you all along, even in ways you did not recognize, even in moments that felt uncertain, empty, or painfully quiet. Take a slow breath with me again, my dear. Let it move gently through your body. And as you exhale, feel yourself settling into this moment, not rushing, not reaching, just being here. Because this, right here, is where everything begins to change. Not when everything is perfect, not when all your questions are answered, but when you allow yourself to rest in the present without needing to control what comes next. I know how deeply the mind wants certainty. It wants to map everything out, to know how things will unfold, to guarantee that what you desire is on its way. And when it doesn't get that certainty, it creates noise, doubt, stories that pull you away from peace. But sweetheart, peace was never meant to come from knowing everything. It comes from trusting something deeper than the mind. And that trust is something you are remembering now, not learning for the first time, but remembering. Because there have been moments in your life, haven't there, where things just worked out in ways you couldn't have predicted. Moments where something unexpected appeared, a solution, a connection, a path you hadn't even considered. And suddenly, what felt impossible began to unfold. At the time, it may have felt like coincidence, luck, or timing. But what if it was something more gentle than that? What if it was life quietly providing for you, responding to your openness, meeting you where you were ready? And what if that same support, that same quiet intelligence is still here with you now? Because it is. It has never left. Only sometimes, when fear gets loud, when doubt becomes familiar, we forget to see it. So now, we return, not by forcing belief, but by softening into awareness. I want you to notice something very simple today. The small ways life supports you. The breath that continues without effort. The way your body carries you through the day. The little moments of ease, a kind word, a moment of stillness, a quiet sense that somehow you're okay. These are not insignificant things. They are reminders. Reminders that support is already present, not something you must chase, but something you can begin to notice, appreciate, and receive. And as you begin to notice, something shifts inside you. Gratitude starts to grow, not forced, not exaggerated, but natural. A quiet appreciation for what is already here. And gratitude, my dear, is like opening a door, not a dramatic door, not something loud or overwhelming, but a gentle opening that allows more to flow in. Because when you acknowledge what is already supporting you, you align yourself with the energy of receiving. You tell life, I see what you are doing, I trust you, I am open. And life responds to that openness. Not because it is testing you, but because it reflects you. So instead of waiting for something big to finally feel safe, finally feel supported, begin here. Begin small. Begin now. When you wake up, before your mind rushes into the day, just pause for a moment and whisper softly within yourself, Thank you for supporting me, even in ways I cannot see yet. Let it be simple. Let it be real. And as you move through your day, when something works out, even in the smallest way, acknowledge it. That's life supporting me. When something doesn't go as planned, instead of collapsing into frustration, pause, breathe, and gently say, even this is guiding me. Even this is part of the support. You don't have to fully understand it yet. You don't have to force yourself to feel positive. Just remain open to the possibility that nothing is happening against you. Everything, in its own way, is moving you. And my dear, there is one more thing I want you to gently look at, something that often stays hidden beneath the surface. The fear of receiving. It sounds strange, doesn't it? To want something, to long for it, and yet, somewhere inside, be afraid of it. But it happens more often than you think, because receiving means change. It means stepping into something unfamiliar. It means letting go of the identity that was shaped by struggle, by waiting, by uncertainty. And even if that identity has been painful, it has also been familiar. And the unknown, even when it holds something beautiful, can feel unsettling. So, sometimes, without realizing it, we hold back, we delay, we create subtle resistance, not because we don't want what we've asked for, but because we are still learning how to feel safe with it. And that's okay. You don't have to rush this. You don't have to suddenly become someone completely different overnight. You simply allow yourself to expand gently, steadily, at your own pace. So, when you imagine receiving what you desire, instead of immediately jumping to excitement, I want you to ask yourself softly, do I feel safe holding this? And if the answer is not fully yes, that's not failure. That's awareness. And awareness gives you the space to nurture that safety within yourself, to remind yourself, I can handle this. I am ready in my own time. I don't have to rush. Life is not taking this away from me. Because what is meant for you is not something fragile that disappears the moment you relax. It is something that aligns with you, something that meets you, something that stays as you grow into it. So you don't have to chase it. You don't have to grip it tightly. You don't have to fear losing it before it even arrives. You simply become someone who is available to receive it. And that, my dear, is a quiet, powerful transformation, not visible from the outside, but deeply felt within. So now, let's return to stillness for a moment. Take a slow breath, let your body soften, and gently repeat these words within yourself, slowly, as if you are speaking to your soul. Life is always providing for me. Again, life is always providing for me. I am open to receiving. I am safe to receive. I trust the timing of my life. Let each word settle like a soft echo within you. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to rush. You are already in the process. You are already supported. You are already being guided, step by step, breath by breath, moment by moment. And even when you forget, even when doubt returns, even when fear whispers again, that doesn't undo anything. It simply means you are human, and you can always return to your breath, Return to this knowing. Return to the quiet truth that has always been here. Life will always provide for you, no matter what. So soften your grip, ease your mind, open your heart just a little more, and let yourself be supported, not someday, not when everything is perfect, but now, right here, in this moment, because this moment is already holding you.